Hey guys, good morning to all of you. How are you guys doing this morning? Can you all hear me? Hopefully. So can you guys hear me? Oh, good. This is my first time using YouTube live stream. I figured since we weren't meeting in person first, it would be better to use a platform that everybody sort of knows how to use instead of using software that you may not have on your computer yet, or you may not be that familiar with, and so forth. That's some of the stuff that we will determine today, is how the modality and software that we will use in this course, because you guys have a lot more feedback than a lot of other places like to give. I prefer as many of the students to be as comfortable as possible in doing this. So, with that in mind, let us talk about, oops, sorry about that. Okay. With that in mind, let us talk, let me add something real quick, just a video. Okay, well that's not going to work for right now. I'll get that worked out. Like I said, I'm still new to the OBS software, and it's kind of hard to learn it when you are just not live streaming frequently. So I can see what you put in chat, and for a lot of this I'll ask you to answer in chat. I do have an attendance poll. That's not where I need to check that. I do have an attendance poll, and that will allow me to see how many of the classes is at least logged in long enough to do attendance. Right now we have about 14 people. We should have about 25, so I'm going to kind of wait a few minutes. But the next thing that will be polled in forms is the Wednesday class. So Wednesday we should meet Wednesday we should meet in the evening in person. Now, the first thing you need to know about this class is it's a hybrid class, which means we can meet up to 67% of the time online, 33% of the time in person. And part of what we will do during this initial live chat is set when we're going to meet in person, when we're going to meet online, and in general set the schedule for the course, and then I'll put all of that in the syllabus and I'll upload that syllabus. We'll also set what we're going to use as our learning management system. You're going to have a choice in that. And we're going to set how we do the videos when we meet online. Do we continue to use YouTube Live? Do we swap over and use Zoom? Do we use Microsoft Teams? So all of you are going to have the options to vote on this today, because you're the ones consuming this content, i.e. you are the students, and it should be set up to be the most convenient to you. Now, one of the things that you might be wondering is, why in the world did this class meet at 8 a.m.? No, I am not a morning person either. I absolutely hate getting up early in the morning. I like going to bed late at night, don't like getting up early in the morning. I specifically set the online portion to start early so that you guys would have time to either go to work in the afternoon if you have a job, so that you can set your schedule up and be through with this class at 10 a.m. and then you have the rest of the day, or that you would have time to commute into Queens College before and get to Queens College around lunchtime, i.e. during break, and then have classes in the afternoon. With that being said, if all of you choose to shift this class, because it is the morning on Mondays is always online. If you said, as a class, as a whole, as a unit, we want the class at 8:30 or 9 a.m. to go from, say, 8:30 to 10:30 or 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., and that's not going to impact our schedule, our work schedule, our general overall schedule, you can do that. And that'll be something else that'll go in this initial, in one of the polls that'll go up for you guys to decide. But the idea, the reason why the class is split with an 8 a.m. class on Monday morning and then a 6:30 p.m. class on Wednesday evening that will meet sometimes in person, sometimes it can meet online, you get to choose that as well, is to give more flexibility in terms of you guys, your class schedule, your work schedule. This class is designed for students that might be working or might need more breaks between classes. I particularly am ADHD and autistic, so I struggle with sometimes with time management and all of the other stuff that anybody that's got ADHD and autism struggles with. So for autism, when I interact with you guys, I then can have, I need downtime, I need time to reset. So this was kind of built so for the same type of experience, to give time so that after this class in the morning, you'd have a little time to reset before you had to commute into Queens College for your other classes, and so on and so forth. So if you were wondering why such a weird time schedule, it was because of trying to keep in mind the students of Queens College and what you might need. That being said, you have some say in this, but the first say that you need is let's get this out of the way. So a link to a form has just been posted in the chat. That form is asking, do you wish the Wednesday class to be online or in person? Now, next week will definitely be following the online on Monday, in person on Wednesday, but it is pretty snowy and it is pretty going to be pretty freezy, and it's going to be hard to get all this snow off the road. So I am giving you the option of, do you wish to try to get into Queens College on Wednesday, or would you rather just continue to be online this week and let the snow do what it's going to do? So I'm going to pin that form to the top. Oh, I can't. So let me get a URL code. That is not what I needed. Oh. It's morning. I don't think well in the morning. Okay. So that sets up the link to that. Now, let us, generally speaking, because of some studies we have done, when we meet in person, we will, if we are doing lecture material, I will have a few PowerPoint slides and it won't all be on the board, although there will still be some board work. I'm going to try to get everything set up so that I can still record what we do when we're in the lecture hall, because that way you can go back and revisit it. Now, on Tuesday, Thursday, I will be doing podcasts, and what the content of those podcasts will be determined by your questions that you ask, or your requests that you make, or if you don't ask any questions or don't have any requests, then I'll just make a podcast based on what I think you might need. But it would certainly be easier to know what types of podcasts to make if you let me know. What I've determined in the past few years is you're very hesitant to ask questions in class. Most students are very, very hesitant to interact with me. I know I can be a little bit abrupt. That has nothing to do with you. But I can tell you the few things that annoy the bejesus out of me and will lead to very abrupt answers. And with that in mind, sorry, my camera's up there. With that in mind, it can help reduce the and smooth over stuff. So I generally make announcements in class right at the beginning of class. We generally have quizzes in class right at the beginning of class, and the syllabus is a little book that'll go on. If I have to repeat something multiple times because you weren't listening, so I said it in class, I said it 3 or 4 times, and it's not something like a problem where you might be struggling with it. It's an announcement. It's when is this going to be? What is that going to be? And it's something that's posted in the calendar on the learning management system. It's something that's we've said in class. It may even be written on the board. I'm going to be a little bit snappy. If you're asking a question about content, if you're confused about something or you didn't understand something in the lecture, I am not going to be snappy. I'm going to be really excited. I'm going to be happy to answer your questions or ask you additional questions. So this is just one of those things where if I've provided you the information and you're asking me to repeat it, it's annoying. If you're asking a question because you don't understand something, that's not annoying. I work on it, but that's a pet peeve. It really bugs both the autistic and the ADHD side of me. So that's where that's coming from. Okay, so now that we've had a little bit more time for people to check in, if you haven't checked in and you're logged in, please check in. Please put in the chat which type of streaming software you want to use. Would you prefer YouTube? So your choices are, so let's do this by writing. So place in the chat which streaming service you prefer. YouTube, Zoom, Teams. Now, you're probably not familiar with Microsoft Teams, and here in just a minute, you're all going to download it. You're all going to log in correctly, and because that's how you're going to contact me, generally speaking. The reason for that is I get 100 emails a day from the university, from vendors, from spam, and if you send me an email, I'm not going to see it. So what I need you to do is I need you to be able to contact me in a way that I'm going to be able to see. Okay, so everybody, please, okay, so for Wednesday, we will be online synchronous in whatever form we choose. I prefer YouTube, and the truth is even if we do Zoom, I'm gonna post the recordings of the videos onto YouTube. Now, the other issue is like for right now, this YouTube is public. I can do the YouTube streams as private. If we do lecture videos, they can be public or private. I can set it either way. So I can set it where you have to have a link to see it. or I can set it where just anybody can see it. Now, for the podcast on Tuesday, Thursday, that anybody's going to be able to see. But I'm of two minds whether we should. You guys are participants. Yes. The recordings when lecture's over, whether it's in YouTube, Zoom, or Teams, will always be posted on YouTube, and hence you will always have access to them. It doesn't matter which modality we choose. This particular one's not being recorded because it's class set up, but it's not going to matter which modality we choose. They will be recorded. But I'm very aware of shyness and of students not wanting to interact in public. So that's another thing that we need to deal with. So, like, for instance, I have 20 people in live stream, but only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of you answered that question. And I'm guessing everybody else, they're a little too shy to answer it. So, platform for live stream. So I'm about to make that a now. Before we do that, I am going to delete that. Display capture. Ah, gotcha, Ashley. That's good to know. Okay. So right now we're on where you can see my whole screen. And that's because I want to, before I do the class setup, I want to show you guys Microsoft Teams. And I want to show you, I want you to get this set up on your computers. So, first thing all of you need to do is you need to go to your Microsoft 365 and you need to log in, and this is very, very particular to this. Well, sorry, you don't actually have to do it this way. If you're on a Windows machine, go to Microsoft Store. If you are not on a Windows machine, if you're on an iPhone, an iPad, you don't have to create one for Zoom or Teams because you already have one. That's a good question. If you're on an iPhone, an iPad, a Mac, go to the App Store. If you're on Google Chrome, App Store. If you're on your PC, Microsoft Store. But wherever your apps are stored, go there and search for Microsoft Teams app. Now, you're also going to want the Zoom Workplace, because depending upon if we use Zoom or Microsoft Teams, you're going to want both of those. Now, download that, install it. You should also install this on your phone, whichever phone you have. Be it an iPhone or Android phone, there will be this app. You need to install it. Now, the trick to this is logging in correctly. Because here's the issue. And I'm going to put this in chat where you can go back and look at it. You have 2 Microsoft accounts as a student. You have your CHEM account, which is for email. And then you have your CUNY account, which is a broad access account. Okay? Now, generally speaking, in something like Word, you can add both accounts. And there are advantages to doing that because that gives you 2 terabytes of cloud storage. And the way you do that in Word is when you go up to the upper corner where your icon is, you'll see add an account. And you can add your CUML account and you can add your CUNY account. Now, that's true for Word, PowerPoint, Excel, but in terms of Teams, you only want to log in using your CUNY account. So this is what Teams looks like in general. I'm just going to go to CUNY Hub for right now, because what you need to see is, and I'm going to maximize this, what you need to see is your person thingy up there, which for some reason is not behaving well. So, trying to figure out why it's not letting me click, if you're curious. And why you can't see what I'm clicking on anyway. There we go. So see the little person up here? That's where you would click, and you need to make sure you are logged in via your first dot last number at login.cuny.edu. Okay? In other words, you need to log into Teams using the exact same login that you use for Brightspace. You do not need to log into Teams using CUML. It's absolutely vital that you log in to Teams using your Brightspace login. And that's why it's better to have it as the app. Because then it won't inadvertently log you in incorrectly. Now, all of you have used Brightspace. It's not the most easily navigatable learning management system, but we can use it. We also can use Teams. I prefer Teams. I find Teams to be much easier to use. This is what Teams looks like. I haven't set up a course in Teams yet because I'm not going to double set it up. So we're either going to use Teams or we're going to use Brightspace as our course setup. But what we are certainly going to be using Teams for is to communicate with me. So in Teams, you will see a chat feature. That chat feature allows you to communicate privately with me. And it instantly pops up. It's just like messaging me with your cell phone. And that's why I told you to download the app on your cell phone. It gives you an instantaneous way to contact me. If you're having problems streaming, if you can't get access, if you're sick and you can't come to class, if you have a reason you're going to be missing an assignment, all of that should be done through Teams chat. All of that's private stuff. Now, you can, if you try to email me, I'm not going to see it. Because, like I said, I get about 100 emails a day. If you don't specifically put CHEM 113.4 in the subject, which you're going to forget to do, we all forget to do it, I'm not going to see it. If you put it in Teams, I'm going to see it pretty much immediately because it pops up. It pops up on my phone, it pops up on my iPad, it pops up on my computer. So, definitely, I have no idea why I'm staring at that. See, there we go. Definitely, use Teams to contact and communicate with me. Now, the question will be, do you choose to use Teams as the class setup? Now, in order to see what that looks like, I'm going to use last semester's 114 class. So there are channels. Those channels, you'll see there was the link to the lecture videos, which I've removed at this point. It also links to interesting videos in general, assignments, announcements. This is where students could ask questions as part of their grade. Then classwork, this is where I set up modules and the assignments went into these modules. Class notebook was sometimes where I sent things, but also in the channel there was a calendar, which is where lectures were set, and there was a this is where class materials like the syllabus, practice exams, and so on and so forth went. So this is what Teams looks like. You guys know what Brightspace looks like. So So what I'm doing now is setting a setup for a series of questions. Now, before I post this and you guys answer, the other thing to keep in mind is Brightspace, although you are learning new software, can be scary. You can decide whether you want to do that at this time or not. Do you want to learn Teams or do you want to stay in Brightspace, which you're more familiar with? Here's my argument for making the leap to learn Teams. You will actually use it when you graduate college. A lot of businesses use Teams and communicate through Microsoft Teams. You will not ever use Brightspace again once you leave college. But I can use whatever. It will take me less time to set up Teams, a little bit more time to set up Brightspace. It's okay. there are, in just a minute, I'll reload the QR codes for some polls, but they're also linked in the live chat. You can pop on and look through it to access them. I'm about to put the final poll to allow you guys to pick your platform for our synchronous meetings, whether you want the recordings of those meetings to be public or private, and what learning managements you would like to use, Brightspace or Teams. Okay? I'm going to pop that into a style. Yep. And I'm going to collect responses. Anybody can respond. Shorten URL, copy link. So there's the link to that. And download that. I'm going to flip this back up to here. Narrow my not that pretty face down so that I can add the QR code to here. Okay. You will always be able to rewatch the videos, because if we do the videos in Teams, I will still record them. I will still upload them to YouTube. And they're also available in, so I'm going to go back to Teams for just a minute so you can see. Under where I did the videos, you'll see recordings and you'll see videos. So the videos are always available if done in Teams. They will always be available no matter what modality. So the videos, let me put that here. No matter what LMS or modality, videos will be available for future. So the issues predominantly how you want them available at the beginning. I really like Teams. I also like it because if there's a problem, like somebody inadvertently withdraws you from class, or there's an issue with registration or class, I control who's in Teams, so you won't be dropped out of the learning management system and then put back in. The disadvantage of Teams is if I want to put a grade into the grades in Teams, I have to create an assignment. Even if you don't have to submit anything for the assignment, I have to create the assignment. So like for in-person exams, I still have to create an assignment in Teams for that exam. Obviously that exam you're going to do in person and I just will input the grade, but it's still going to appear as an assignment in your Teams. But you get used to that. I always label it as like do not submit so that you know it's a assignment for me to input a grade, not for you to do anything with. Um, also prefer to use it because it's training you guys to use something that you're going to use in the future. It's something you can put on your resume, in other words. Familiar with Microsoft Teams, know how to use it. When I do set up a team, you'll automatically see it as long as you log in using login.cuny.edu. You will not see it if you do not log in using login.cuny.edu. That's the important thing. Because when I add you, it's going to add you using that. Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to do, is there a calendar? Of course not. Okay. Who would want a calendar? Okay. So, there's the February calendar. We are meeting right now in the last week of January, so I'm not worried about that. So we have lectures on Monday. So this is online, in person. No, you don't need access to the lecture whiteboard right now. Online, in person. So we'll meet like that. This is a holiday. And because of personal commitments, this will be online. As will this and this. Like I said, this is a hybrid class. We have to meet in person 33% of the time. In order to make it clear when the in-person meetings were always going to be, we automatically set those up to be, I need to move this over here. And I need to move this over here where you guys can actually see what I'm writing. We set it up in the course dog to show that in-person would always be on Wednesday night. That doesn't mean that every Wednesday will be in person. It just meant that if we are going to meet in person, it will be on Wednesday night. Part of the reason why the course is set the way it's set is I'm an only child. Both my parents are elderly. Both of them have health issues. Both of them do not live in New York. They live in Tennessee. So there are times when I have to travel because of doctor's appointments to be with them. And that means I have to do online modality. And that's why my particular courses were set to be hybrid. Now they're also set that way because we are piloting this. We're trying to get this established as a course and see how well students like it, and to see how if it's a method of giving this course that students are going to want in the future. So it does supply multiple benefits, and that's why I give you guys significant amount of input into the course at this moment, is because we're developing it, and we want to develop it in a way that students can enjoy it and deal with it. Add. I don't like you guys not being able to see me when I'm talking. So, there we go. Okay. So, that's for February. In other words, I know when I need to be at my parents' for various issues. That's much easier. Let me, So there's February. It's a much better calendar. Here is March. I'll try to find a better February calendar. There we go. Okay. So again, text. Monday, online, that's standard. Wednesday, in person. That way we can hand out on Wednesday of next week. You'll get a hard copy of your syllabus. You'll get a hard copy of all of the module books that have study guides and course policies and the topics that'll be on the final exam. All of that will be handed out as paper copies on Wednesday of next week, but it'll also all be posted in whichever learning management system you pick by the end of this week. Probably by the end of tomorrow, but then online, in person the following week, and then these 2 days are holidays. So O is online, I is in person, H is holiday. And then this will be online. And those two will be online. Okay. Then this one's inherently online. This is when exam 1 will be. Well, sorry, that's not when exam 1 will be. Yeah. So that's when exam 1 will be. And I'm trying to see what date it's that. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna try to make this an in-person. because this is when we'll meet for homework before exam 1. It has to do with some stuff in terms of my parents, but right now let's say maybe 11 is going to be in person. Okay. I'm based. That's a good Chowdhury. It's going to be online. 79% voted for Wednesday to be online, so this coming Wednesday will be online. And that'll get posted, that information will get posted in the calendar for the whatever learning management system is chosen. Oops. Hiding. And then 23rd is online just because that's the normal modality for the course. And then 25 is in person. That one, you guys get to choose. So, and that poll will be put in the learning management system. But March 25th, this is a student choice of in-person or online. So that will be student choice. Then 30th is online. And like I said, this is for you guys to see what I'm thinking about and to comment on right now so that I can set the schedule so that after we finish this class, the very next thing that'll happen is I will go into the learning management system that we have selected via that poll, and first thing I will do is do the calendar. Second thing I will do is put the syllabus in. Third thing I will do is get all the rest of it set up in terms of modules, homework, so on and so forth. So, in other words, this is just a so that you can see it was a strange. Okay, that particular calendar it does not like. that one it's okay with. Okay. So on April, Wednesday, the first week of April, is the start of spring break. This is an important day. It's the last withdraw day. Why they put the last withdraw day the day after spring break, you've got me. But that's when it is. These 2 days are online. This is online. This is homework. This is exam 2. Now, this is a date to be determined. So that's the next day. That's the other day you guys will get to choose. Wait, no. Sorry, that's online anyway. I'm sorry, brain fart. Okay. Never mind. I don't know why the 13th is when they set the withdrawal date. Now, this is a good time to talk about department policy in terms of withdraw and WU. So, for you guys to withdraw, and this is an issue. Right now, most of you are in chemistry, Gen Chem 1 and the laboratory. So Chem 113.4 and Chem 113.1. And those two are co-requisite, which means you have to drop both of them if you are going to try to withdraw from the class on your own using CUNY First. The college wants you to do that. We will actually allow you to stay in the lab if you wish to withdraw from the lecture. This is a huge issue right now with the college. And we've got to change some stuff about how the course is set up to make this easier, but that hasn't happened yet. So what this means is if you want to withdraw from the lecture and not the lab, you're going to have to go into the department office and fill out a form and sign it, stating specifically that you want this. We have to have that in writing so that you can't come back and say we did it without your permission. And once you fill out that form and sign it, we create a list of students who want this to happen, and we have to submit that list to the registrar by the drop date so that they can withdraw you. And that means do not wait until April 13th to do this. If you're going to withdraw from the course officially, do it before spring break. Now, the policy from our department is after the drop date, if you quit coming to class, you receive a WU, which is an unofficial withdrawal. That WU does not count towards your GPA when Queens College calculates your GPA, but it does show up on your transcript, and hence it might count towards your GPA if you were to transfer to a non-CUNY school. Or I don't think it counts for like the AAMC, the American Association of Medical Colleges. I'd have to check that. That's something I'll look up for you guys. But it can, other schools can count it differently. They can count it as a failing grade. CUNY no longer does that. They just count it as a withdrawal. In my case, I set that deadline after exam 2. That gives you 2 exams to decide how you're doing in the course. Hence, if you do any additional work after exam 2, you're in the course. You cannot receive an unofficial withdrawal. If you quit doing work, quit attending class, quit participating in class, quit doing the Q&As, quit doing any homework, don't take the 3rd exam or the final after exam 2, then you get an unofficial withdrawal. Unless you specifically tell me you don't want that, you want the F, then you'll get the F. Now, another thing that commonly comes up in terms of grades, because I have a very broad grade scale, is a D versus an F. Students will come and say, because on my grade scale, a 50 is a D. And students will come and just say, will you just grant me an F? Grade replacement. Grade replacement does not replace that F off your transcript. It's a bad name for the policy. That F would remain on your transcript. And I promise you, when you go to future things, a D looks better than an F. And every course you take is on your transcript. So you will get the grade you earn based on my grade scale, and don't ask me to change your D to an F. If you really want an F, just don't take the final, because it's 20% of the grade. So that's a clear and clean way to ensure you get an. It comes up that is an issue with me, not an issue with you, but it is an issue that I ask you to help me with. I can drag my feet grading things. I don't like it. I have ADHD. I will procrastinate that out the wazoo. It makes me feel guilty because it's important to you. This is part of the reason why Teams is so important. All you have to do is chat me and remind me that you really would like to see your grade. Do that especially like on a Tuesday morning, because then I'll be like, oh crap, I do need to grade that. I will get it graded and give it back to you the Wednesday that we meet in person. So that's just, I'm sorry. I wish I didn't need that. It is something I need. So that's one of those things that I am asking you to be willing to do. It's just bugged me a little. It won't hurt me. And I don't hold grudges in that regard, because it's something that... Oops. Okay, final calendar. Oh, the other thing to let you guys know is this particular Tuesday is a Thursday. That means go to your Thursday classes. Don't worry about your Tuesday classes. That also means if you have a job, you're going to have to plan. If you have Thursday classes and you normally work on Tuesday, you're going to need to plan ahead for that. Okay. This online. Looks like we're going to have 3 exams and a final. I'm going to do something. It's not enough time. Okay, so online, in person, online, in person. And then this is when finals start. Now, notice I didn't put finals on the 19th. This is a regular class. Don't ask me. They actually had to send out an email clarifying this. This is a holiday. This is the final day for finals. They sent out an email clarifying that yes, the 19th is a regular meeting day in the middle of finals. I don't have a clue. Now, the final is a department-wide final. What I'm trying to figure out is where I may move exams around. But the final is a department-wide final examination. And it's scheduled by the department. You will know that schedule before spring break, because I will push to get the schedule for the final exam before spring break, so that if you work, you can schedule for it. I suspect it might be here on this Monday. That's certainly where I would argue for it to be. But if it's not going to be on Monday, it'll probably be on Wednesday. But I don't know when that exam is scheduled. Because basically what we have to do is we have to sit down, look at when the finals are. We have to request the room from the college. And then we have to make some decisions. Now, the makeup date will definitely be on Monday. So, like, if the finals on Wednesday and it conflicts with another one of your finals, or you have 3 finals on Wednesday, you can choose to take it on the makeup time, which will be Monday. I can promise you the makeup time will be Monday. And I don't ask questions. If students decide they want to take the final during the makeup time, I don't actually ask you to tell me why. If it just fits your schedule better, you take it at makeup time. I literally don't ask, because it's before I figure I don't ask because of this. We always set the makeup time to be before the rest of the class takes the final. Hence, I don't figure you're going to take the final at the makeup time unless you really need to do so. Because most students are going to lean to wanting more time to study. So I figure, generally speaking, a student's only going to want to take the exam during the makeup time if there's a reason to do so. Now, here's the question you guys get to think think about and ask. Right now we have 2 exams in the final. Are you okay with that? Because I can build in the rest of it in terms of submissions and quizzes and things like that to be where we work with this. But oh yes, there's definitely a CHEM group chat. Teams is the existence of a CHEM group chat. And it will be graded. And in other words, it's not graded for content, it's graded for did you participate in it. So the idea of the exams, I'll play around with it. I may adjust this. No, there is no Alex. You will be, that's a good question. Very good question. And let's talk about that. So, I don't want to log in. Continue as guest. If I log in, you see the instructor, not the. Okay. What you will see is a particular ebook called Thomas Gilbert's An Adams Focus Prose, and you'll see it's listed as optional. And then you'll see CHEM Connections Activity Workbook. This is a required book, but it's only required for bonus. So the course has a built-in 100% bonus, 100-point bonus, which is 10%. That means you can curve your grade by 10% by doing the bonus work. All of the bonus work is going to come out of this activity workbook. So you can choose to purchase this, or if you can find it as a PDF, I'm not going to ask. But this book is where the bonus assignments will come from. This book is where some of your homework will come from. Now, the way homework is done, and because there's a lot of online meetings in this class, this will be done through it'll either be done through Brightspace, or if we're using Teams, it'll be done through OneNote notebook. I will be assigning certain lessons out of this workbook. Those lessons you're just supposed to do. You'll also be given a little set of homework questions in a little booklet for each module that we cover. There are 4 modules in the course. Those are additional suggested problems that you should work. You are guaranteed your exams are going to come from the questions in that book and the questions from this workbook. I'm not going to pull exam questions from anything other than those 2. Now, when we meet online, the very first thing that'll happen is you will be given a quiz. Those will be multiple choice. Those quizzes will be there so that you can see how we ask these questions via multiple choice. And that'll be built in as part of your grade. Now, I am trusting that you're not going to use AI to answer those questions. I have a few things that I'll put in as checks to that, but I'm just going to have to trust that you're not going to do that. Now, what will happen here on the guided inquiry is you will be asked to submit on the day we meet for homework. What will happen is I will bring in the solutions to the homework that was assigned to you. Now, we're going to meet for homework more than just the right before the exams. Pretty much anytime we meet in person, we're going to be meeting for homework. And you'll have a specific set of these projects that you are supposed to have done by that particular meeting time. What I will do is I will hand out a sheet, and you will just transfer your answers from your already worked stuff to that sheet. And that's what I will grade as your homework. Once you have handed that sheet to me, I will give you the solutions, and you can grade the rest of your assignment on your own. And we will actually set aside a time in class when we meet in person to do that, so that you have the ability to study. The solutions to the practice problems that are in the module, same thing. You can go into the department office, you can check them out to grade your own solutions. So that's how we're doing homework. There is no Alex, but there is still going to be homework that you do and that you can monitor. Now, in terms of textbook, you will need a textbook to read. Now, one option for that is OpenStax. And I will provide these links in the links to OpenStax. I will certainly provide in the learning management system that we are using. This is a free textbook. And it's in the order that I teach. Now, the issue with OpenStax is the questions are not that great, the end of chapter questions, but you're being provided with good end of chapter questions, so you don't have to worry about that. And sometimes the examples and how they work problems and how they show you how to work problems is not that good. So students have found that this book, it's not bad if you know the material, but if you struggle with this material, if you're retaking this course, so you already know that this material is a challenge for you, this may not be the best book even though it's free. Now, a very good website to go to is alibris.com. And I'm going to post the link to that in this chat. Now, Alibris is a used book site. So, for instance, our suggested book is Gilbert, Chemistry, and Adam's First Approach. That's the book I'm going to be writing that's the book I've written my notes from. Okay? Now, you'll see you can buy an older version of this, used softcover, $3. That's a good buy. This is a good book. It's a solid book. That book is a good book to keep in your library that you can go back and review if you're going to take the MCAT or the pharmaceutical exam or the dental exam. Okay? So, this is a good book. Another good book is this Zoomdall book. If you're worried, oh my God, they're old editions, I won't have, maybe there will be something wrong in them. The material for freshman chemistry hasn't changed since I was a student 30 years ago. Hell, the order hasn't even changed. So I promise you, an old edition is perfectly fine. There's nothing in the new editions other than new homework problems. And we are providing you homework problems. These introductory books are not great. Let's see, that's Zoomdall. The reason why I do this way is these freshman chemistry books are not worth $180. Okay? It's not worth that. And that's why I'm perfectly fine with you getting used textbooks. I'm trying to see, what's the name? Okay, that one's not there. I'm just trying to see. There's several authors that do. Okay, that one's not there. Burge, Adams first. Of course, Chang is long since dead, so that may be part of the reason why. Chemistry, because it's over B now. Anyway, I'll go through and use. You can use Chemistry by Chang and Goldsby. The only issue with that, and I'll try to take some time to do some mapping. The only issue with that one is it's not going to be technically Adams first, so you'll have to jump around chapters a little bit, but it's no big deal. And that's true for any of these other books. So any of these general chemistry books, like here's your Chang and Goldsby. This is the 12th edition. You've got the 11th. It's fine. I have been told you can find Gilbert as a PDF online. I can't particularly tell you where, because I didn't ask, because that was probably an illegal pirated copy, but I'm not asking where you got your textbook. So you may have to jump around chapters. If you chat me in Teams and let me know what book you're using, I can tell you what chapter we're in for that particular textbook. Okay? And there will always be provided with you keywords in the modules for you to be able to find what chapter you're in. So I will provide a list of textbooks with links of where you can get them used for $5, $6. Pick a book, use that book. You just need a book that's going to demonstrate and give you, that you can read, that you are comfortable with. Now, one of the things I will do because of that, the OpenStax books will get you through the first chapter, is next Wednesday when we meet in person, I will take the time to bring in a bunch of old textbooks. I'll bring in Burge, I'll bring in Chang, I'll bring in Gilbert, I'll bring in Zumdahl, so that you can look at them and see which of these textbooks you like. Because different books and the way they present the material is going to appeal to different people. And by next Wednesday, we will have had a couple of lectures. So we'll have covered chapter 1, part of chapter 2. So you'll have some sense of the material, and you'll have some sense of the OpenStax book, because that's what I'll upload into the learning management system. And that means you'll know if that book's going to work for you or if you need another book. And you'll be able to look through other books and see what you're looking for personally, what book is going to be the best book for you. Because the truth is you can learn this material from any book, but some books are going to be better for your learning style than other books. And I don't care which book you use, but you will need a book to read, to help you reiterate, to go through notes, and so forth. So, which book you pick, that is perfectly, that's fine for you. Okay? But I would hold off on buying a textbook to read, but I would not hold off on getting the required homework books. Go ahead and order those. You need them, because we will start doing homework. Literally, I will post a homework assignment. Okay, let's go back through that. Textbook. Okay, back to QC bookstore. I'll see if I can grab a picture and post it. Okay. And again, all of this will go up in the learning management system as a reminder this afternoon. Oh, quit. Let's try that again. Okay, well, at least I know. Amazon. Connections. This book. CHEM Connections Activity Workbook by Anthony, Braun, and Ernst is a workbook that will be used for bonus assignments. Okay. So, that's a workbook for bonus assignments. You can see Amazon has it for $11.74. You can also find it used and new for $6.75. It is a workbook. It is designed to be written in. So if you find it used, you need to read carefully and make sure it doesn't have writing in it. Okay? Now the other book, the best and cheapest place to get it you want part 1 is Kindle Hunt Higher Education. Now, because of the fact that I am not requiring you to tear the pages out and submit the pages to me, in other words, I'm requiring you to do the work and then you're going to answer certain questions that I retype onto a page and give to you to fill out, you can actually do the ebook and then just have a notebook that you write your answers in. And then you bring that notebook to class. So you could certainly do the ebook. But here's the deal. I'm sorry that the audio is cutting out. The internet may be an issue. The ebook's only good for 180 days. The print book's $7 more expensive, and it's good completely. So the print book it's permanent. So you can decide whether you want the ebook for 180 days for $30 or the print book for $37. But there's This book is absolutely required. In terms of textbook, you need one. OpenStax is fine to start with, but you may need a different one. Okay? So, in essence, these are now, I don't know your math ability. I'm hunting a particular book. There it is. Now I know this book can be found as a PDF because, and it's the older edition. The first edition is like $1 or $2. If you are exceptionally weak in mathematics, like it's been a really, really, really long time, since you've had any math courses, then this calculations in chemistry by Dom and Nelson is very good. But an even better resource is just in whatever learning management system we have, pop in the question and answer, I don't remember how to do this in mathematics. Could you please do a podcast on that? Because one of the things I'm doing that I have set up and I've been scripting is a series of podcasts on Algebra 1/2, Algebra 1, Algebra 2. So high school math, but with a focus on, and also some podcasts out of this calculations in chemistry book, but with a focus on the mathematics, not the chemistry. So if there is a particular mathematics topic that you know you don't understand, go ahead and pop that in the chat and say, could you please go ahead and script and do a podcast on this mathematics? Because every Tuesday, Thursday, I'm going to do a podcast or two on some topic. So if I have a topic to do it on, like this particular bit of mathematics, or could you please go over this type of chemistry problem that we covered in lecture but I didn't understand it, could you please do this? And then that's what the podcast is going to be on. If I don't have any guidance, then I'm just going to go through what I've already got scripted and just make general podcasts on high school math. And then once I get through with those, on college chemistry, because in the end what we're hoping to develop is a library of chemistry tutorials that every student can access. But scripting and really doing high quality streaming videos, true podcasts, really good podcasts, that is not something you do on the fly. that's something you actually do have to take time to script and prepare and to prepare PowerPoints and do video editing on, which is my Tuesday, Thursday job. Okay, so in the remaining time, let me explain some basic things about how this course works in terms of, this will be in the syllabus. You can certainly ask questions on Wednesday about the syllabus. But let's go over briefly, first of all, how I set the grade scale. So, because it's a little weird. And I will explain. So you guys are probably familiar with the standard grade scale, which is something like 98 to 100 is an A+, 94 to 97 is an A, and 90 to 93 is an A-. That's the start of the Queens College grade scale. Now, there are schools in the U.S. that don't do it that way. There are schools in the U.S. that just say 90 to 100 is an A. In other words, they do not give plus-minus grades. Now, when you go in the future, after you graduate with your undergrad, if you go to a pharmacy school or a dental school or a medical school, you don't know yet or a graduate school, if those schools are a plus-minus grade scale system or a non-plus-minus grade scale system. And the issue with that is this A-. This A-, when you transitions to a B in a non-plus-minus grade scale. Even though if you had gone to that school originally, you would have had an A, because what shows on your transcript is not the number, but the letter, an A- automatically converts to B when you go from a grade scale that's a plus-minus grade scale to a non-plus-minus grade scale. And because of that, I do not give out minus grades. So, I'm explaining all of that, so at the end of the year, when you come to me and said, well, I would have had an A- if I'd been so-and-so's class. No, the A- would have been built in. I just don't give it. So here's how my grade scale works. 96 to 100% is an A+. 90 to 95 is an A. Notice, I just collapse that A- into an A. I just don't give minus grades. 86 to 89 is a B+. 78 to 85 is a B. Yeah, this is freshman. 74 to 77 is a C+. 64 to 73 is a C. 60 to 63 is a C-. Notice I put that in a different color. Then, for this class, 50 to 59 is a D, and anything less than 50 is an F. Generally speaking, the truth is generally speaking, 20 to 50% is an F, and less than 20 is a WU. Generally, students who take the first two exams have over a 20 in the class. Now, what's the caveat here? If you earn a 64% or higher on final, course grade becomes a C. That means if you have a 59.5%, I'm going to round that up, that's a 60. If you have 60%, but you make a 65 on the final, you earned a C in the class. Now, notice this though, because I have students that come to me at the end of the semester and say, is there anything I can do to change my grade? And these are students that did not do the bonus. This course is going to be graded out of 1,000 points. I can already tell you that. So 1,000 points. And there's 100 bonus points. So the maximum grade you could make is 1,100 points. So if you have a 55 in the course and you do all of the bonus assignments, then you'll end up with a 65, which is a C. Most students who come to me at the end of this course is set up for everybody to pass. I really want everybody to pass. Most students who come to me and say, is there anything I can do to change my grade at the end of the semester right before the final? They didn't do any of the bonus. And I look at them and say, well, there was during the semester, but there isn't at this point. So the bonus is going to be set up all semester long. You will have that opportunity all semester long to do bonus assignments. Those bonus assignments, by the way, plus the homework, will build and you'll do better on the exams if you do them. But I can't control whether you do it or not. The truth is it's boring as crap to work homework problems. I'm fully aware of that. But it's what you have to do to learn the material. And this is easier to do in person, but how many of you guys either English is not your first language, so you had to learn it, or you play a musical instrument, or you sing, or you play a sport. You played a sport in high school, you play a sport in college, either as a college athlete or as a, just for fun, as a fun league. That it has a name, my brain's not providing it right now. You know, if you've done any of those things, if you're going to get good at a language, you have to do what? You have to practice. It's repetition. I'm trying to learn German right now. Every day, I have to practice the words, practice the vocabulary to build it. If you've played basketball, is the one I'm most familiar with because that was what was the deal in my high school. But if you're going to be on the basketball team, you run bleachers, you run lines, to the line, back to the sideline, to the next line, back to the sideline. What are you doing there? You're building muscle memory. You're building how to stop, turn, and stop and start fast, how to turn fast safely, and you're building stamina. That's true. You have to do that mentally as well. Learning anything requires repetition, requires building memory, requires building stamina. And for those of you that have an interest in medical school or MCAT or anything like that, you need both to have this stuff instantly in your memory as well as to have stamina while doing it. And the reason for that is the MCAT exam, it's a 7-hour exam. 90 minutes is devoted to freshman chemistry and basic physics, mostly in freshman chemistry. 90 minutes to molecular biology, organic chemistry, biochemistry. 90 minutes to psychology. And 90 minutes to social science, humanities. It is a really long exam. And you're not just going to walk in there, plop down, and take a 7-hour exam. You will fail it because your brain's going to give out. My brain would give out. There's no way I could focus for 7 hours. I'd have to build up to that. That's true for freshman chemistry too. So part of what will be posted in the modules and in the little book that I give you is how to build that. You know, how much time per day should you spend on this? One of the issues between transitioning from high school to college is you transition from 8 hours a day in a school building in class being monitored to 15, so that's 40 hours a week, to 15 hours a week in class being monitored. That means did learning all of a sudden get magically faster? Not really, because the material got harder. What happened is we magically assumed in 3 months you were going to magically have the ability to manage your own time and work out your own study schedule. It's hard. It's hard to do that. And most students don't make that transition easily. So don't beat yourself up over that. So I will try to put in schedules to help, at least initially. One of the things that students told me that helped last year is you will be given a list of topics, learning goals, and I will rate those goals as what, and you're guaranteed that all final exam questions will come from that list of learning goals. But I will rate for you which of those learning goals are the most important versus not really. And my rating of that is, what are you going to need for other classes? In other words, what do you need to know if you're going to go to, say, to organic chemistry or physical chemistry or physics or biology, versus what do you need to know just for this course? So that you know what to focus on, because material that you need to know for additional courses, you need to spend more time on, where it transitions from short-term to long-term memory. Material that you just need to know for this course, wait and cram for it the night before the exam. Let it be there and then gone. So that type of thing I will help you provide. I'll provide a scaffolding to help guide you in that regard. But legally, since this is a hybrid course, I am required to provide you 180 hours of content that has divided between lectures, online, reading assignments, homework assignments, and so forth. If it were fully in person, it would be 4 hours, 200 minutes of lecture per week in person, plus an additional minimum of 8 hours of additional study that you should be doing at home. That's the legal requirement for a 4-credit hour course. When it becomes an online course, they had to convert that to just how many hours total for the semester should you have to have. And it comes to about 100. It's 140. I've got it written down somewhere, but it's basically 12 hours a week of material. So if you are working a 40-hour a week work schedule, which, I mean, it's New York, it's expensive to live here, you may be doing that. If you're working a 40-hour a week work schedule and you are trying to take 15 credit hours of coursework, that is a credit hour by legal definition is 1 hour of meeting, 2 hours of additional study time. So 15 credits of meeting, 30 hours of additional study time. That's 45 hours a week, guys. That means you've got 80, if you're working full time, 40 hours a week plus 45 hours a week for your school, that's 85 hours a week. You're going to have to time manage. If you truly are working 40 hours a week, you may need to adjust your schedule because you may not have enough time. If you're trying to work 40 hours a week and you have freshman chemistry, a math course, and a biology course, you don't have enough time. You're going to have to drop something. So don't set yourself up to fail before we've even started the semester. That's why I go through this at this point. It's really, really important that you have enough time to do good. I've taught for 25 years. I have seen students that had so much external stuff that they were trying to do that even though they were fundamentally bright students, they struggled in the course. The worst of that was a student who all semester long, the student had a D/F borderline on that, managed to do enough work to get up to the C- range, but just barely. I mean, hovering. He had like a 58.4, so I mean, right on that border. Made at the very end of the semester, and that was with the 100 bonus points. At the very end of the semester, she finally told her family, I cannot do this week because I have to study for the chemistry final. She made the highest grade on the chemistry final, made an A. So earned that C in the course. The only student that's ever actually used that policy. I felt so proud for her that she passed the course. And I felt so angry at her family because there was an A student that didn't make an A in the course because of family commitments. I was so angry. So, I'm telling you that now so that you can let me know, for example, if you're having a hard time carving out a space to study, let me know that. One of the things we're planning on doing is putting some cubicles around the building in Remsen Hall. I can kind of try to find a place and reserve that for general chemistry students. I have some desks in my laboratory that I can give you access to on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday if you need a study space that's quiet. If you're at home and you have quiet time but you just don't have a place to spread out to study, there are really good, just look up in Amazon, camping desks. They fold out, they fold back up, they're $30. Great choice. So create a place where you can study, create a time window where you can study, and you'll do well in this course. It just takes work. It takes practice, in other words, and you need time to do that. As long as you give that time, you'll do well. This course is set up where if you give that time, you'll do well. If you don't give that time, you're not going to do well. Okay, so before we sign off for the day, let me check the forms and see, so I can provide, yeah, it was the same. I didn't put a break in. In the future, I will actually set a timer that I can see so that there's a 10-minute break. And in fact, what I will try to do is divide the lectures up into fours. So 25 minutes, 5-minute break, 25 minutes, 10-minute break, 25 minutes, 5-minute break, 25 minutes, so that you do not have to listen to me talk for 2 hours in a go. Okay, so lecture 2 modality, responses. 19 people wanted it online, 5 people wanted it in person. I do understand the desire for in person. I want to see you guys too. But the 19 online win. So this week only, we'll definitely be meeting Wednesday online. Class setup. View responses. Okay. So, most of you prefer YouTube and you prefer it public. That's fine. That's what we will do. If you're hesitant to ask questions in the live stream, I'll get this set up. I'll get more efficient at it, and I'll put the Teams chat on my phone, so that if you want to ask a private question, if you're a little bit shy about putting your question in public, you can chat it in Teams and I'll see it on my phone. Okay? Learning Management System, 11 Brightspace, 8 Teams. Is there any way I can convince some of you from the 11 on the Brightspace to go to Teams? Because I'm not going to set up both. Here's what we'll do. No. You will be added to the team. You don't have to set up anything to view the course content. You will be automatically added to the team. You will have instant access this afternoon. And there will be a podcast on how to navigate Team for your course. I'm going to set it up initially in Teams, just because it's faster. If after a week everybody hates it, I'll convert it to Brightspace next week. Okay? So I'm just going to set it up into Teams initially for this week. Get it started. Let everybody get a feel for it. And then, generally speaking, most people like it once they get used to it. The dominant problem that students have with it is logging in. That's why I told you all to download the app. Don't try to access Team through the browser. And the reason why I say that, do not try to access Teams through the browser, is because that Teams is, because you check your email in your browser. Hey, great. Don't give it to me. You can post, there will be, once I get Teams set up, you can create a private channel in that, and you can share it in that private channel for the other students. But I can't know about that, because that's probably a copyright violation, and I cannot be part of that. I will get the college in legal trouble. It's perfectly fine, though. I can make it where you can share it. I just can't do it as a faculty member. Okay? I know you can find Gilbert as a PDF online too. So, but so you can create your own channels in Teams, in other words. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to do that since you're here and we have Teams available. You go to your channels. When the team comes up, you'll go to channels. Sorry, you'll go up at the top where it says more options here. And you can add a channel. All of you will have that ability. You'll type your channel name. You'll select if you want everybody to see it or if you want it private. If you want it private, then you control who you add to the team. So that means if you have a study group, I know you guys use WhatsApp and other things, but you're welcome to use Teams as a study group. If you create a private channel, I cannot see it. I don't want to see it. I'm very, very sensitive to privacy. I'm not gonna look. Even if you gave me access, I still wouldn't look. That's also going to be true in the OneNote notebook that I set up. There will be a place that says notes, open parentheses, private, close parentheses. If you use OneNote, you can, if you have like an iPad or a computer that's also a tablet that you can write on, you can access your class notebook. You can take notes in OneNote. That's perfectly fine. I'm not going to look at them. Even if you take notes in the class notebook associated with this class, I am not going to look at your notes. I don't like people watching me when I struggle to learn something, and I'm going to give you that same respect. I'm not going to ask. So if you have a question, if you want me to look at something in your notes, like you were working your homework problems and you got confused, you can share it. There will be a separate section in your notebook that says questions for instructor. You can copy your OneNote page and post it in there, and then chat me and say, hey, I posted a page. Would you look at that? Here are my questions. I'll answer them. I'll look at them. No problem. But I'm not going to look at your notes. Nope, there's no team cord. You'll be automatically added. The issue is you are automatically added using your Brightspace login, not your QMail. So when you log into Teams, your login should end with @login.cuny.edu. It should not end with @qmail.cuny.edu. That one won't get you access to the team. It has to be the @login.cuny.edu. That team will be open at 10:30. You should see it. 10:40. I'll begin to get it set up. The fundamentals of that should be set up by 1 p.m. today. The details in terms of syllabus and assignments and calendar and stuff. I teach another course tonight at 6:30. I will work on this until about 5:30, and then I'll have to swap over to the other course. So I will get as much of that done in Teams before 5 as I can. And then after my evening course, 6:30 to 8, I'll do their same setup, either in Brightspace or Teams, whatever they choose, hopefully Teams. And then tomorrow morning, I'll finish getting it set up. Okay? Other questions? So don't be surprised in the live stream lecture, I'll delete the 1B. And now that we know that people are wanting to use YouTube live stream, I'll go ahead and divide the lectures up and so on and so forth. So you'll see that begin to change over the next. Few times, okay? And what I'll probably do is create scenes and countdowns in this. For those of you that have an interest in YouTube and podcasting and crap like that, I'm using free software called OBS. It's actually pretty solid streaming software. It's got quite a bit of ability. it links really well to YouTube in terms of live stream as an encoder. I will be getting a better mic, or use a headset with a mic going in the future. But, and I'm probably going to move my camera because I tend to look that way instead of at the camera. But other than that, the one final thing I want to ask is, do you guys want to start this class later or not? Or are you okay starting it at 8 a.m.? Well, that'll be a poll. You don't have to answer right now. That'll be a poll in the team. You guys can answer it there. I set it at 8 a.m. because I have to teach at my home setup, and then I have to drive in to teach my in-person class at night. And again, I set it at this early because I figured you guys were the same as me, that you needed, if you're going to meet online, you would prefer to do it at home and then either go to work or go into college for the rest of your classes. So that's why it was set up that way. Not my favorite in terms of getting up, but hey, I'm actually fine with 8 a.m. But if everybody was like, absolutely not, God, why did you set it at 8 a.m.? I would have shifted it. But good. 8 a.m.'s fine. We'll get better at this. I appreciate your patience in terms of live. And I will see you guys on Wednesday on YouTube live stream. Okay?